my shrimp dish. It's, you know, you start off with a pan, right? And you start off with like this much, like, you know, scallions, and you gotta have a martini while you're cooking it. This much parsley, and you start with like, you know, you deshell the shrimp. You make a stock from the shrimp shells, right? And then it's about a pound of like 16, 20 count shrimp, and you marinate that with like, you season it with Old Bay, and you put it in the fridge while you're prepping the other stuff. Before you cut, you take a sip of martini made with like gin, vodka. I like gin, and you know, with 3 big fat olives. Got to do that. And you like chop up the scallions. Chop up the scallions until it looks like that. Add about this much butter and this much extra virgin olive oil. That was pretty good. Let it like melt. Another sip. Then you take those onions that you cut up. The scallions, it could be onions too. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be scallions, but that's what we had in the garden, so that's what we're using. And then you gotta caramelize it, so you gotta like really cook it slow until the shit caramelizes. So like, wait, spatula to turn it. Yeah. And then you like shitloads of garlic. Yeah, just like all this. I don't know, like this much. Break it up, and then you chop up the garlic. Looks like that. And then you put more garlic in here, just so your wife doesn't get mad at you that you left it empty. Throw the garlic in with the onions and let it caramelize too. And another sip of martini. Yeah. Stir up the garlic with the onions. Then you let that caramelize. So, I don't know, half hour or some shit like that. In the meantime, you could cut the parsley over here while you're waiting. And then you chop up some sun-dried tomatoes, but you save them towards the end, but you gotta chop them up. Chop up like this much sun-dried tomatoes. You're cooking thin spaghetti with this meal. Thin. Squeeze out like half a lemon's worth of juice. Okay, so then when you got it sufficiently caramelized, you add the shrimp. But the trick is to keep it on super low heat. You want the oil, you want the butter, and all the seasoning that's been caramelized to soak into the shrimp without cooking the shrimp too fast. So now you mix it all up. Like that, you got it on super low heat. And you just mix it up. Like that. And you keep it cooking really slow on the low heat. And you have to kind of flip each individual shrimp. Make sure it gets cooked, but not too cooked. So it's a process. You got that the shrimp sufficiently coated with that caramelized stuff you had going on with the garlic and the onions and the butter and the extra virgin olive oil and the pepper. Just keep it nice and low and slow. Try to keep everything in one layer. Use a big ass pan, by the way. Gotta use a big ass pan. I think it's about 2 pounds of shrimp, not 1 pound of shrimp. Correction. So once you get the border going, while this is going real slow, cook up the pasta now. I use a thin spaghetti, and I like to break it in half. So. Juice a whole lemon. So get the other half, do that too. Make sure it's al dente. So about 6 minutes. So just about halfway done. I use the same thing that I do this with because, you know, it all goes in the same dish anyway, so who cares? If you can individually, the bigger the shrimp, the better. Turn it until you see the other side getting nice and white. Takes some time, but it's worth it. Keep going. Keep that cooking slow. Until, you know, you flipped all the shrimp on the other side. And still keeping it going nice and slow, but that looks good now, doesn't it? Yeah. Have another sip of martini. Let up a little more. And really coat it. Let it real, like all that flavor like soak into the shrimp because it's cooking nice and slow. Yeah. Be Locatelli brand Pecorino Romano cheese. And if you can get it, like, you know, grated like this, professionally grated, this is really important to the dish. The very last minute, add sun-dried tomatoes. And it's okay if that oil from the sun-dried tomato goes in, but that just adds more flavor. Gas pan, you just add the whole pound of pasta right in there, and you start mixing it up. That broth from the shrimp shells. Juice with parsley flakes in there mixed in. All up. Really mix it good. Let all that juice fall into the pasta. Keep it still at low heat. Then you put it on high just for a few minutes just to crisp up the pasta. Sprinkle a little parsley. And serve.